France is more than a country on the map. It is a universe of sensations, stories, and landscapes seemingly shaped to inspire the human imagination. From the whisper of waves along the coast to the solemn silence of the Alps. From the illuminated streets of Paris to vineyards stretching endlessly into the horizon. This land beats like a heart, both ancient and modern. Traveling through France is like crossing centuries at every corner. It is breathing in the fragrance of lavender in Provence, tasting wines that carry the memory of entire generations, and wandering through cities that blur the line between dream and reality. Palaces that witnessed kingdoms and revolutions, villages that preserve traditions untouched, and landscapes that change like impressionist paintings under the sunlight. This is not just a travel guide. It is an invitation to dive into a living film, where every region of France is an act, every monument a character, and every landscape a stage that awakens emotion. Between urban and rural, coast and mountains, luxury and simplicity, France unveils itself as a mosaic of wonders. Get ready. What is about to begin is not merely a journey across French geography, but a sensory, cultural, and historical adventure. With every step, you will discover that France is, above all, an experience that transforms the gaze of those who behold it. Paris. Paris is not just a city, it is an experience. Walking along avenues that seem designed for eternity, smelling freshly baked bread on every corner, watching the light at sunset turn the Seine into a golden mirror. This is the essence of the City of Light, where life itself becomes art, and daily moments feel like impressionist paintings. The Eiffel Tower rises like an iron beacon, a symbol of boldness and modernity since 1889. From afar, its silhouette shifts with the colors of the sky, and at night, its thousands of sparkling lights resemble falling stars illuminating the city. Few sights in the world stir such emotion as the first glimpse of the tower rising among Parisian rooftops. Yet Paris is more than its global icons. The Louvre, with its glass pyramid and endless corridors, invites travelers to immerse themselves in centuries of human creativity. Notre Dame Cathedral, scarred by fire yet unbroken, remains a testament to spiritual strength and cultural resilience. Montmartre, with its sloping streets and street artists, shows the city's bohemian soul, a reminder that Paris is also creativity and rebellion, an open-air studio. Parisian cafes are another spectacle. Sitting at a terrace table, ordering a café noir, and simply watching life unfold has become an almost sacred ritual. In these moments, one understands why Paris seduces so deeply. It is not only what you see, but what you feel. The city's rhythm is a symphony of sophistication and simplicity, grandeur and intimacy. Above all, Paris is a state of mind. It is walking without haste, wandering through hidden alleys, crossing ancient bridges, listening to music along the Seine, and suddenly feeling like part of a film. In Paris, every instant seems infused with meaning. Leaving the city of light, travelers carry more than memories. They carry a new way of seeing the world, more attentive, more sensitive, more passionate. Paris, after all, is a promise that beauty can exist in every detail of life. Normandy. Normandy is a land where history and nature intertwine, like waves that never cease to renew themselves. In northern France, its wild coastline is marked by monumental cliffs that seem to defy the Atlantic Ocean, and by beaches that carry humanity's deepest memories. Here, every stone, every breath of wind holds a narrative far greater than the landscape itself. The cliffs of Etretat, sculpted by time and the sea, are among the most striking sights of the region. Their curved shapes, resembling arches and stone cathedrals, inspired artists such as Monet, who immortalized their grandeur in eternal brushstrokes. Walking to the top of the cliffs is to feel the fierce wind on your face and hear the sea echo like an ancestral song. Yet Normandy is not only natural beauty. Its beaches were the stage for one of the most decisive chapters of the 20th century. D-Day, on Omaha Beach, Utah Beach, and many others. The sand still seems to carry the weight of the soldiers who landed there in 1944. Today, white crosses aligned in silent cemeteries remind visitors that freedom always comes at a cost. It is impossible not to feel moved when standing before a place that changed the course of history. Beyond memory, Normandy reveals delicate charm in its towns and villages. Honfleur, with its picturesque harbor painted by tall houses reflected in the water, feels like it was taken straight from an impressionist canvas. Rouen, with its imposing Gothic cathedral, carries the echoes of Joan of Arc's courage, who met her fate there. Each small town in the region has its own soul, its own tranquil rhythm, and Normandy's flavors are part of its identity. Camembert and Pont-l'Evêque cheeses, cider made from golden apples, and dishes rich in fresh seafood create a unique gastronomic tradition. Here, eating is not just nourishment, but the celebration of a heritage passed down through generations. To be in Normandy is, above all, to live contrasts. The serene silence of green fields and the roaring power of the sea, the painful memory of war and the gentle beauty of daily life. It is a place that teaches us to respect the past while celebrating the present, showing that strength and beauty can exist side by side. Alsace. Alsace feels like a land taken straight from a fairy tale. Located on the border between France and Germany, it carries a unique blend of cultures, colors, and flavors. Walking through its towns is like stepping into the illustrated pages of an old storybook, where half-timbered houses painted in bright hues line cobblestone streets, and flowers overflow from windows, adorning daily life with poetry. Strasbourg, the capital of Alsace, is the beating heart of this hybrid identity. Its Gothic cathedral, built of pink sandstone, rises with majesty, its tower reaching towards the sky. Around it, the canals of the Petite France district reflect houses preserved from the 16th century, creating a romantic and almost timeless atmosphere. By night, the city becomes a silent, magical spectacle, with lights shimmering across the water. But it is in Colmar that many travelers feel they've entered a real fairy tale. Known as the Little Venice of Alsace, the town displays colorful houses, narrow canals, and markets filled with spices and regional wines. In winter, its Christmas markets are among the most famous in Europe, transforming the city into an enchanted scene of lights, music, and sweet aromas. Beyond its architectural charm, Alsace is also a paradise for the senses. The Alsace wine route winds through gentle hills covered with vineyards, revealing villages like Rickeweer and Eguisheim, where time seems to have stood still. The region's white wines, especially Riesling, are celebrated worldwide, perfectly pairing with traditional dishes such as choucroute garnie, a culinary symbol of its Franco-German heritage. Alsace's history is shaped by shifting borders and identities. For centuries, the region was contested between France and Germany, and this heritage lives on in its language, its buildings, and in the warmth of its people. Diversity here is not just cultural, it is the very essence of Alsatian identity. To be in Alsace is to immerse yourself in a setting where flowers, wine, old houses, and history weave together into an unforgettable experience. It is to feel, if only for a moment, that the world can be as beautiful as the pages of a childhood storybook. Provence. Provence is a palette of colors that seems to have escaped from Van Gogh's canvases. Located in the south of France, this region is a hymn to light, scents, and simple life elevated to art. Traveling along its narrow roads means discovering fields of lavender stretching as far as the eye can see, hills draped in vineyards, and stone villages that preserve centuries of history. In summer, lavender fields become Provence's most iconic postcard. A gentle breeze carries the sweet fragrance of purple blossoms swaying in perfect rows under the sun. The experience is not just visual. The scent envelops the senses. The breeze caresses the skin, and the hum of bees resonates like a natural soundtrack. In such moments, travelers understand why so many artists sought inspiration in this land. But Provence is much more than lavender. Its medieval villages seem suspended in time. Gordes, perched on a hilltop, offers views that stretch endlessly. Roussillon, with its ochre cliffs, glows in red and golden tones at sunset. And Saint-Rémy-de-Provence, where Van Gogh lived and painted some of his most intense works, remains an artistic sanctuary. Everyday life carries the Provençal charm as well. Open-air markets are vibrant spectacles of colors and aromas. Artisanal cheeses, golden olive oils, regional wines, fresh herbs, and warm breads create an irresistible sensory mosaic. These markets embody the local hospitality, a silent invitation to live slowly, savoring each moment. Nature in Provence also astonishes. The Calanques National Park, between Marseille and Cassis, reveals turquoise coves framed by white limestone cliffs. The Luberon region offers trails winding through soft hills and hidden villages, perfect for walks that unveil an intimate, authentic France. Being in Provence is to experience a different rhythm of time, where the sun dictates the pace, flowers paint the land, and life is measured not by haste, but by the depth of the senses. It is the feeling that simplicity may be the purest form of beauty. Loire Valley. The Loire Valley is known as the Garden of France, but it could just as well be called a corridor of dreams. Along its banks, the Loire River winds gracefully through fertile land where France's history meets the poetry of the landscape. It is a territory where kings and queens built sumptuous palaces, yet where nature continues to dictate the rhythm of life with vineyards, gardens, and fields blooming like living paintings. The castles are the valley's brightest jewels. Chambord, with over 400 rooms and Renaissance towers that seem to touch the sky, is a masterpiece of human ambition. Chenonceau, built across the Cher River, is known as the Ladies' Castle, for it was home to queens and lovers who shaped French history, and today it enchants with its unmatched elegance. Villandry, in turn, offers a sensory experience in its geometric gardens, where colors, aromas, and shapes come together in perfect harmony. But the Loire is not only grandeur. There is also an intimate, welcoming France hidden in its towns and villages. Amboise preserves the memory of Leonardo da Vinci, who spent his final years there, leaving his genius stamped upon a setting of green hills and cobbled streets. Tours combines medieval charm with modern vibrancy, while small hidden villages seem to invite visitors to get lost, only to rediscover the joy of simplicity. The Loire River itself is a silent protagonist, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It flows calmly, mirroring the sky in its tranquil waters and sustaining a rich biodiversity. Its banks shelter migratory birds and fertile fields, and to follow it on foot or by bike is to connect body and soul with nature. And how could one speak of the Loire without mentioning its wines? Sancerre, Vouvray, Chinon, Muscadet. Each label tells a story rooted in the soil and carried through generations of winemakers. to savor a glass at sunset, with golden light reflected on the river, may be the very definition of the French art de vivre. Visiting the Loire Valley is crossing portals of history while embracing the tenderness of daily life. It is a place where the grandeur of castles balances with the simplicity of the countryside, where past dialogues with present, and where every journey becomes an unforgettable memory. Burgundy. Burgundy is a land where time seems to slow down to follow the rhythm of its vineyards. Located in eastern France, this region is a sanctuary for those seeking to understand the intimate relationship between man and the land. Each hill, each row of vines holds secrets passed down through generations, turning wine into more than just a drink, into culture, identity, and liquid poetry. Dijon, its historic capital, is much more than the city of mustard. Its cobbled medieval streets, Gothic churches, and Renaissance palaces reveal centuries of prosperity and power. Walking through its center is like strolling through a timeline where architecture and history blend, while the scents of spices, wines, and traditional dishes float from taverns and restaurants. At the heart of the region lies Beaune, considered the wine capital of Burgundy. The hospices de Beaune, with their colorful mosaic roofs, are an emblem of beauty, solidarity, and tradition. In its underground cellars rest bottles bearing legendary names: Gevrey Chambertin, Pommard, Meursault, Pouligny Montrachet. Each label is a chapter in the global history of wine. The landscape has a harmony almost musical. Gentle hills, golden stone villages, and horizons that stretch to infinity. The famous Route des Grands Crus is more than a road. It is a sensory journey through vineyards, like walking through a living library where each plot is a book, each vintage a new story. But Burgundy is not only wine, it is also culture and spirituality. The Abbey of Cluny, once the greatest religious center of medieval Christendom, still impresses with the grandeur of its history. In Vézelay, the basilica dedicated to Saint Mary Magdalene, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, remains a place of pilgrimage and sacred silence. And then, there is the gastronomy that brought Burgundy worldwide fame. Bœuf bourguignon, slowly simmered in red wine, expresses in flavor the patience and depth of this land. Escargots in butter and garlic, artisanal cheeses, and crusty breads complete the experience of a cuisine that does not rush, but celebrates the intensity of every ingredient. Burgundy is, in essence, a school of contemplation. It teaches that the wealth of a place lies not only in its grandeur, but in the delicacy of its details. In the sunlight reflected in a glass of wine, in the whisper of the wind through the vines, in the silence of an ancient abbey. Being here is to learn to live at a more human, profound, and truthful pace. Côte d'Azur. The Côte d'Azur, or French Riviera, is a place where sea and light meet in an eternal dance. Stretching along the Mediterranean, this turquoise coast is a setting that blends glamour, nature, and history. From the sparkle of Monte Carlo's casinos to the quiet harbors of fishing villages, the region is a mosaic of contrasts that enchants every traveler. Nice, with its famous Promenade des Anglais, is the gateway to the Riviera. Walking along its seaside boulevard is to witness a spectacle where the deep blue of the sea competes with the sunlight reflected on colorful facades. The city's old streets hide markets filled with flowers and spices that carry the scents of the Mediterranean. Further along, Cannes dazzles with its red carpet, but also with golden beaches and an atmosphere that combines cinema and eternal summer. Saint-Tropez, once a modest fishing village, is now synonymous with luxury, yachts, and endless parties, yet still preserves quiet corners that recall its humble origins. But the Riviera is not only about wealth. In Ise, a medieval village perched above the sea, every narrow alley leads to viewpoints that open onto infinite horizons. In Antibes, ancient walls embrace a lively harbor where history coexists with the modernity of art and nightlife. Nature, too, plays a starring role. The Lérins Islands, facing Cannes, offer pine-shaded trails and quiet beaches, in contrast with the bustling mainland. The Estoril Massif, with its red cliffs plunging into the blue sea, creates one of the Mediterranean's most dramatic landscapes. One cannot ignore the Riviera's artistic heritage. Here, Matisse, Picasso, and many other painters found inspiration in the vibrant colors and unmatched light. Museums and galleries across the region still testify to this marriage between art and nature. To be in the Côte d'Azur is to live in a place where refinement and simplicity coexist. It is to sip rosé wine by the sea, swim in crystal waters, and at sunset, feel that life can be as luminous as the Mediterranean horizon itself. French Alps. The French Alps are a land where nature asserts itself with a grandeur that words can barely capture. Between snow-covered peaks, green valleys, and crystal lakes, the region is both an invitation to contemplation and an ode to adventure. Time here follows the rhythm of the mountains, slow in the silence of the mornings, swift on ski slopes, eternal under the deep blue sky. Chamonix is one of the most emblematic names of this landscape. Lying at the foot of Mont Blanc, the highest mountain in Western Europe, the town breathes both adrenaline and history. From here, the first mountaineers set out to conquer impossible peaks. And today it remains a world capital for alpinism, skiing, and communion with the raw power of nature. But the French Alps are not only about adventure. Annecy, known as the Venice of the Alps, combines a lake of crystal clear waters with charming canals and a medieval center that seems frozen in time. Sitting by the lake at sunset is to witness golden light mingling with mountain reflections, creating an atmosphere of pure serenity. Grenoble, often called the capital of the Alps, blends modernity with tradition. A dynamic university town, it is surrounded by snow-capped peaks that frame its vibrant cultural life, its markets, and its cosmopolitan energy. Megève, on the other hand, preserves the sophisticated charm of France's most elegant ski resorts, where wooden chalets coexist with luxury boutiques. Nature here is inexhaustible. Alpine lakes such as Bourget and Serponçon reveal waters that seem hand-painted. In summer, trails cut across flower-filled valleys, revealing landscapes that change at every turn. In winter, the mountains become white temples where snow dictates the rhythm of life. And as everywhere in France, gastronomy rises to meet the setting. Dishes like tartiflette, fondue, and raclette are more than meals. They are experiences that warm body and soul, celebrating the collective spirit of the mountains. A glass of Savoy wine, fresh and light, accompanies each gathering as naturally as the surrounding peaks. To be in the French Alps is to feel small before immensity, yet deeply connected to the world. It is to realize that the mountains are not mere scenery, but living presences, guardians of stories, cultures, and a beauty that, even in silence, speaks louder than words. Brittany is a land where the sea sets the rules, where every wave seems to carry centuries of history. Located in the far west of France, this peninsula is defined by wild cliffs, picturesque villages, and traditions that defy time. It is a region where Celtic identity still beats strong, turning the landscape into a stage for legends and myths that echo in popular memory. The cliffs of Pointe du Raz seem to thrust into the Atlantic, as if the land itself were challenging the untamed waters. Lonely lighthouses, steadfast against the elements, have guided sailors for centuries, reminding us that Brittany has always been a land of navigators, courage, and resilience. On misty mornings, the horizon disappears, leaving only the sound of waves crashing against the rocks. Pure poetry in motion. The towns and villages of Brittany have a charm that blends simplicity and character. Saint-Malo, encircled by massive walls, breathes the memory of corsairs and merchants who once ruled the seas. Dinan, with its medieval streets and half-timbered houses, transports visitors straight into the past. Quimper, Brittany's cultural capital, preserves Gothic churches, lively markets, and a vibrant atmosphere that celebrates both art and tradition. Nature here is breathtaking. The pink granite coast, with its rock formations sculpted by wind and time, looks like a surreal dream. And the Bay of Mont Saint-Michel, though officially straddling Normandy and Brittany, is one of the world's most iconic landscapes, where spectacular tides reshape geography each day. And, as in all of France, gastronomy is inseparable from local identity. Crepes and galettes, made from buckwheat flour, are a source of pride, as is cider served in rustic bowls. Fresh oysters and mussels, harvested along the coast, are celebrated in bustling markets and seaside restaurants. Dining in Brittany is itself a sensory journey into tradition. The Celtic spirit is present in every detail, in dances, in music with bagpipes and fiddles, in festivals that celebrate past and present alike. Brittany is not just a place to see, it is a place to experience with all the senses. To be in Brittany is to understand that the sea is not merely scenery, but the main character. It is to realize that the landscape holds more than beauty. It carries memories, beliefs, and the enduring strength of a people who have learned to live in harmony with untamed nature. Corsica. Corsica is an island seemingly sculpted by nature itself to be an untouched refuge. Located in the Mediterranean, south of France, it is known as the Island of Beauty, and with good reason. Its rugged mountains plunge directly into the deep blue sea, creating a landscape that combines drama and serenity in unique proportions. Bastia, in the north, welcomes travelers with its vibrant port and narrow streets where life unfolds in a Mediterranean rhythm. Ajaccio, birthplace of Napoleon Bonaparte. São Pranenfi holds not only museums and memories of the emperor, but also the charm of a sunlit coastline where cafes and markets line the seafront. The Calanques de Piana are one of Corsica's most impressive natural wonders. Red rock formations that look like giant sculptures, carved by wind and time, plunging into crystal clear waters. From above, the view is almost surreal, a fusion of fire and sea. Inland, the island shows a different face. Medieval stone villages scattered through the mountains where time seems frozen. Corte, the former cultural capital, embodies Corsican pride and resilience, preserving traditions with dignity. Trails weave through dense forests, rivers hide natural pools, and the scents of rosemary, lavender, and pine fill the air. Corsica is also a paradise for adventurers. Its trekking routes, such as the famous GR20, are among the most challenging in Europe. Each stage unveils wild landscapes where altitude brings silence and contemplation. For sea lovers, the beaches of Santa Giulia and Palombagia, with their white sands and translucent waters, seem painted by an artist's hand. Corsican culture beats strongly in every detail. Traditional polyphonic singing, recognized by UNESCO, resonates in villages and churches, carrying centuries of identity and spirituality. The cuisine blends French and Italian influences, but always with a local touch. Strong cheeses, artisanal charcuterie, and robust wines that reflect the island's rustic character. To be in Corsica is to feel both protected and challenged by nature. It is to live an experience that balances introspection and intensity, where every sunset reminds us that, in the heart of the Mediterranean, there are still places capable of keeping secrets and offering beauty as pure as it is rare. France is more than a country. It is an experience revealed in layers, like a book written by nature and history over centuries. From Paris to the Alps, from the Côte d'Azur to Brittany, each landscape, each city, each tradition composes a mosaic that never exhausts itself. Traveling through France is to encounter the essence of beauty, beauty that goes beyond sight, awakening all the senses. The places we visited are not merely settings. They are living presences carrying the memories of peoples, echoes of battles, notes of ancient music, and flavors that have become identity. Every lighthouse in Brittany, every vineyard in Burgundy, every stone of a Gothic cathedral or a medieval village, all hold both the weight of history and the lightness of poetry. Perhaps this is France's greatest wonder, its ability to be both grand and intimate. A country that welcomes travelers not only with places to see, but with emotions to feel, stories to share, and moments that remain long after the journey ends. And so this journey closes with an invitation. France cannot be fully revealed in a single visit. It is infinite in possibilities, and each return is a rediscovery. For in the end, what it teaches us is simple and eternal. Beauty lies in the details, and travel, like life, is made of moments that turn into eternity.